that's such a lie. I really believe that everyone should read this book. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and let's dive straight in with February's reading wrap up. February's first book was X's Nose by Amy Lee. If you have seen my last video on January's reading, you'll see that I read Set on You. I blitzed it in an afternoon while I was sick and I really enjoyed it. This book gave me very similar vibes. It makes sense. It's in a series. It's featuring two sisters. I still don't like the emojis in the book. That's okay. I can deal with it because I really enjoyed it. It was just, again, another fun, easy read. I really enjoyed how we see bits of our main character Tara as she revisits her previous relationships and wonders, did she miss out on her one true love? Has her moment passed, and was it with one of them? Overall, I think this is exactly what I expected it to be. Another fun, easy read. I'm not sure what's coming next. I don't know if there's another book in the series. If you already know that there is, drop a comment. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that I will be reading any other books in this series. Overall, that was a 4 stars for me. Chronologically, the next books I read were both by Abby Jimenez, and they were The Happy Ever After Playlist and Life's Too Short, and I read them in the wrong order. I haven't even read The Friend Zone, which I now know is the first book in that series. Maybe I'll read it someday. But I read Life's Too Short first, which is the third in the series, and then I read The Happy Ever After Playlist. Well, I listened to them both, and that one is the second in the series. Both of them I really enjoyed. I now understand a lot of the context that I didn't get when I first listened to them. But overall, they were both fun, easy listens. They were exactly what I wanted them to be. They were both 3 stars for me. I enjoyed them at the time. They're not going to be my favourite books ever. I don't remember loads about them. But yeah, nice, enjoyable reads. Next up is While We Were Dating by Jasmine Guillory. This book, I just really spontaneously picked this up off the shelf at the library. I love a cartoon cover. They will reel me in every single time. The book, it was fine. To be honest, I picked it up for the cover. I didn't really even Google it before I picked it up, and I think that kind of translated. It was fine, but isn't gonna be up there at the top of my favourite reads of the year. Next up was Something Wilder by Christina Lauren. I had listened to a couple of their books already from Libby, and this one I had in physical copy, which I've now given to a friend. I am so thankful that I knew going into this video that it wasn't their classic romance. I'm so glad I knew that it was more like mystery with a subplot of romance, which made me just love it so much more. I just thought the element of mystery kept me kind of from like halfway through right on the edge of my seat the whole way, and I think I probably read the second half in one sitting, so it was really good. I rated this 4.5 stars. I don't think it's gonna be like one of my all-time favorite reads, but it definitely was one of the most enjoyable ones I've read, and up until this point was my best February read. We Are Displaced by Malala was an absolute 5-star read for me this month, so I really believe that everyone should read this book. The start of the book shares some of her story on what it was like to both be in a war-torn country and then live her life removed and outside of that, especially as a marked woman still fighting for girls' rights to education in a lot of more restrictive countries. As someone who works in humanitarian aid, this book really resonated with me. I think it really emphasised my passion and desire for people who are facing poverty and crisis, and I really think is such a great book for anyone to read, to kind of get glimpses of some of the situations around our world. I love a good series, and February was no exception. I listened to all of the Hunger Games. It's been a while since I read any of these, and so it was really nice to kind of revisit what I think are really, really brilliant books. I listened to the second while we were road tripping to a wedding, and that was just really nice to be able to share that time with my husband as well. Just very low stakes, chilling out, drinking some coffee, listening to Catching Fire, and I really love the series. I think the first book especially is a 5 stars, and I think the other 2 books are 4 stars, and overall it is a 4-star series. Some non-fiction I listened to this month was Kate Flanders' My Year of Less. This book chronicles Kate's journey as she sees what it means to spend less. She starts with a really restrictive spending ban, and over the years it is a really insightful and eye-opening journey into how she views things, how she spends her time and her money, and ultimately how she brought more joy into her life because of it. I think this book maybe would have been more insightful for me if I hadn't have listened last month to Marie Kondo's life-changing magic of tidying up. But I think the fact that I read both is always great, and as I said last month, I really struggle with the amount of stuff in my life, and so it is always good to keep prioritising and keep putting things in their right place, even in my mind. Wrapping up February's reading blog is The Do-Over. This book is one that I ideally wanted to read over Valentine's Day. I didn't quite get there, but that's totally fine. The Do-Over, as you can see, it's kind of 3 repeating patterns. This is a total Groundhog Day of Valentine's Day. I think from that, you know that going in, and I think it definitely makes the plot just like super predictable, and so I think I wasn't as invested because I knew the outcome that was going to happen. There weren't as many surprises, but I did like a lot of the plot of how we got there. As we all know, Better Than the Movies took over the internet, especially last year, and so this book was very highly anticipated by many. For me, I don't think it quite lived up to the hype. This is still a great book, just wasn't a 5-star read for me, but I did really enjoy it. Obviously it is YA, I am not a young adult, and so maybe if I was 16, 17, it would have been a lot more enjoyable, but this was exactly what it says it was, a young romance. Those are the 11 books that I read in February. I would love to hear what you think I should be reading next. You can find me, as always, over on Kate's Literature on Instagram or somewhere else on the internet.